everyone, welcome to Cooking with Al. Today we're going to do pavlova, and I have with me my guest and my sister Shan, who is the master pavlova in our family. And when you have a master at something, you don't need to turn your mind to it. So she's going to show us how she does it. People literally rave about her pavlova. What I love about it is a beautiful caramelized crunch on the outside and a gooey inside. And she has the tips for us today about how to achieve that. Take it away, tell us what your secrets are.
The first thing is to make sure that you have fresh eggs at room temperature. So the freshness of the eggs is important because the yolk is really perky and holds together when you're going to separate the eggs, and you don't want to have any yolk that infects the white. So that's why that's important. When you actually do the egg yolk and the egg white separation, I like to do it with 3 bowls so that you're doing it one at a time. You transfer it out of that bowl and make sure that your egg whites stay clean.
Now, what are your tips for storing a pavlova? Especially, we live in Sydney, so it can get quite humid, and we do like to eat pavlova at summertime when it is humid.
Yeah.
What are your tips?
So when the pavlova is actually finished cooking, I normally turn the oven off and leave the pavlova in there.
Okay.
To actually
dry out.
To dry, well, and it just helps it because my version of pavlova is fairly crispy.
Yep.
It's nice in there. It feels happy in there. You just leave it in there. And
We all like a happy pavlova. And any tips for dressing it?
No, just use normal thickened cream that you can buy. Whip that up. You don't need to add any sugar to that because there's plenty of sugar in the pavlova itself. Actually, the cream helps to offset that sweetness. And then use whatever berries you like, and kiwi fruit is what most people like. Some people like to put mango on it as well. And most people like some passion fruit.
Oh yes, I do like a good bit of passion fruit.
Yeah.
It's a nice tang, and also it's a good complement to the sweetness of the pavlova.
Absolutely.
All right, well, that being said, let's get cooking. Okay, let's get separating those egg whites from the egg yolks. Crack the egg and pour the egg white into bowl 1. Now plop the egg yolk into bowl 2. Check that there's no yolk in bowl 1, and if not, pour it into bowl 3. Pour the egg whites into your stand mixer. Then add a pinch of salt. To beat the egg whites, we're going to use the whisk attachment on your stand mixer. Beat the egg whites until you get firm peaks. When you lift up the beaters from the egg whites, it should hang and stick to the whisk attachment. Now it's time to add your sugar. Add it in 4 separate batches, each time whisking until the sugar is fully dissolved into the egg whites. To check whether or not the sugar has dissolved, just simply rub a bit of the egg whites between your fingers. If it feels a bit gritty, then the sugar hasn't quite dissolved. Just keep beating until it's nice and smooth. Once it's done, the meringue should look nice and glossy. Now it's time to add the combined caster sugar and corn flour. Then pour in the lemon juice. Using your spatula, fold this through the meringue very gently. The advice from my sister is to bake your pavlova on a piece of baking paper. This makes it easy to transfer your pavlova to your serving plate. Spoon the mixture onto the baking paper. Using your spatula, spread out the meringue to cover the baking paper. The pavlova will rise a little as it's baking. Then using a bread and butter knife, make little swirls in the pavlova. This will create little peaks that will caramelize as it's baking. Bake the pavlova in a very low oven at 130 degrees for an hour and 15 minutes on the roast setting, preferably not the fan setting. While the pavlova is baking in the oven, I like to get on and prepare my toppings. Whip your cream until stiff peaks. Now I prepare the strawberries by cutting them into halves or quarters depending on how big they are. Then I top and tail the kiwi fruit, slice off the skin and cut it in half. Then I slice up each half into strips. Okay, so my pavlova has fully cooled in the oven, and now I'm going to top it with the cream first and spread it out with an offset spatula. Then just simply lay your prepared fruit on top. I like to start with the strawberries first and then interweave the kiwi fruit, the blueberries, and then finally top off with the drizzled passion fruit. Then dust it with a bit of icing sugar. Just listen to that crunchy meringue, yummo. Well, there you have it, a delicious pavlova. I really hope you give this one a go, and I really hope you enjoy.